The opinions of our panelists do not necessarily reflect those of Bang Zoom Entertainment or Revision3.com. This episode of AnimeTV is brought to you by Netflix and GoDaddy.com.
Welcome to AnimeTV episode 10!
It's a big day!
It is!
Look at our
Double
look at us.
digits!
Look at we like all dressed up.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, this is the only show of its kind. We review anime, manga, Asian pop culture, and video games.
And speaking of games, we've got a segment today with Kaji called The Game, Not That Game. And also, we're going to be reviewing Huntik and defining anime.
That's very deep.
Yeah, we've got a lot today.
Yeah, so let's get to it.
Okay. AnimeTV, go!
AnimeTV, go!
Now it's time, once again, for Hima.
Hima!
Hima is the Japanese word for
Free time!
That's right.
So we're going to be talking with our panelists, find out what they've been doing. Oh, we've got a little floaty thing. Yeah. That's what I've been doing with my free time, catching this stupid floaty. Panelists, what's going on?
All right, thanks, Johnny. But before we go into our HEMA segment, I would like to introduce our new cast member. Her name is Tracy Hines.
Hey guys,
Welcome
what's up?
aboard, girl.
Thank you.
Tell me, what have you been doing with your off time?
Well, lately I have been listening to Lights. She is an artist that just recently got signed to Warner Brothers Records, I believe. She's got this music that I just really feel like anime geeks will love. Well, she's a gamer geek. A lot of her music I can hear is like a theme to an anime, but she's kind of got like this synth pop, kind of like electro pop thing going on. She has one album out right now. It's called The Listening. It's been in my CD player for a couple months, but I just recently discovered her through a friend.
My people usually have an internal love for the beat, so
My people.
that's just how it is. Well, Mile,
Yes.
what have you been doing in your free time?
Well, my people also has an internal beat too.
Right?
So there was a time when obviously I grew up with anime, but then there was a time when I kind of stepped away from it. Obviously, with the whole like you live in LA, you watch movies, and you know. Anime just kind of fell to the wayside, and there was this one anime that brought me back into the world again, like full force.
Right.
It's called Jibaku-kun. It's so badly done. I look at it now and I was like, wow, the animation is so terrible. But for some reason, the story really kind of revived my love of anime again. Basically, it centers around Bucky, but he's like one of those crazy characters that I love from anime, which is like, I can conquer the world because I think I can, kind of, characters. And it's based in this world called 12 World, and it looks like a clock. And they're all connected to the center spear that goes into the sky. And each world has their own great child. And in order to become a great child, you need to go around to all the worlds and then go to the tower, and they give you this little spirit thing, which is this pink ball face thing. I know, it looks really freaky when you look at it, but it always sits on his shoulder, and it always has its hands in a little fist. And whenever you're trying to get rid of these monsters that have been popping up in the world, you throw your Jibaku-kun at the monster, and then the Jibaku-kun goes brr, and opens its hands, and then it just blows up.
Like a prinny.
Yeah.
It sounds like Geodude from
Yeah,
Pokemon,
you know what I
where
mean?
he's like, and then you throw him and, yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that it's like every single great child has a different way that their thing blows up, and every single world, as the number goes up, the monsters become harder to get rid of. So
Right. It's literally one of those animes you can easily miss if you're not looking for it.
oh, if you're not looking for it at all. But it's what I've been rewatching again because I love it so much. But anyways.
Okay, Nick, what have you been up to?
I'm putting down my game controller, and I'm picking it back up again. I just wanted to ask, I know you play video games.
Right.
And do you ever get to that point where you're pussyfooting around with the final boss? Like, for example, I'm sure everyone has played Final Fantasy VII, where once you go down the pit, Sephiroth is there, and you don't want to kick his ass just yet because there's so much more leveling up to do, and you haven't gotten your characters where you want, more chocobo racing to do, and I've been kind of pussyfooting around with two different games because I know I'm at the point where it's going to reset itself and I have to start all over again. It's actually 3 games. One is Tales of Symphonia. I've been playing that forever. I've been trying to catch all the creatures in the world. And I've been playing Resident Evil, The Dark Side Chronicles. I know that there's one last level. But the good thing about that was I finally tipped over the scale and beat that level. and there's a secret super level. So there's one more to beat, Final Fantasy Crystal Bears. I've been trying to play them all in throwing.
I have to call it Game Flag.
You can
Crystal Bears, Final
Yeah,
Fantasy,
you know what?
really?
People poo-pooed it. It's basically like a lot of mini games. I basically like the stories in Final Fantasy because this story sucks. The storyline is terrible. It's basically about an elemental user or crystal bearer. So the stories are kind of bad. The Resident Evil one is better. It's trying to fill in the gaps between the different Veronica.
Like the game literally realized it had its own plot holes.
Yeah,
come back.
but it actually makes Veronica look bad.
Me personally, I've been patrolling your boards and looking at the messages, and I got one request, a couple requests you'll see later on, but one of them was Memories by Matsuhiro Otomo. He's the guy who did the Akira movies. He did Steam Boy, a personal favorite of mine. The thing about this that really got me is the fact that, it's done by the masters of anime. Truth of the matter is, a director of Wolf's Rain, I wouldn't consider a master. Miyazaki, Rentaro, Tezuka, Ano, these are the guys I want to see. But when I saw Otomo's little bit, I was like, wow. This is where you can see where he's going with his next ideas for the next 10 years. He has a steampunk story, which we later see kind of like evolve into Steam Boy. We see a space story element that harkens back to Akira and the whole supernatural bit. And if you just really want to get to know a director personally, intimately, I'd say pick up Memories. It's old, it's in DVD, but I suggest you guys pick it up. You guys have any other things you guys want to shoot my way for me to check out? You know what to do. Back to you, John.
Coming up next, it's The Game with Kaji Tang. We're going to take a look into the world of professional video gaming, and we're going to look at Super Street Fighter 4.
Thanks to Netflix for sponsoring this episode of AnimeTV. With Netflix, you can rent over 90,000 titles online, including lots of Blu-ray titles, with free shipping both ways to your home. They now have over 40 shipping centers, so almost all deliveries happen in just one business day. The Netflix plans start from $4.99. As a new member, you can get a no-risk 2-week free trial membership. Check it out at www.netflix.com/anime.
All right, so episode 10, we are sparing no expense. We've got a huge segment for you guys right now. It's The Game with Kaji Tang.
Wow.
Yeah, we're going to Super Street Fighter 4 right now. We've got a lot to show you. Too much to even say. Kaji, take it away.
Go.
So the highbrows over at AnimeTV were sitting around trying to think of segment ideas one day, and they were like, Kaji, he's a bright, upstanding fellow. Why don't we give him a camera and just tell him to film something in regards to the show? I like Street Fighter, and it's got an anime or two. It's close enough, right? And in my opinion, there's no place better in Southern California to play Street Fighter than Arcade Infinity here at Rolling Heights. Guess who we got on our show today? Ryan Gutex Gutierrez, probably one of the best Balrog players in the United States. We've got him in the studio. We're going to be doing an interview with him a little later, but for now, let's see me get my ass whooped in Street Fighter.
I'm here with Ryan Gutex Gutierrez. He's one of, if not the best Balrog in the United States right now. Yeah, I think so.
Thank you.
Street Fighter 4 came out, and there was just this huge tidal wave of new gamers, all wanting to compete in, the pro scene. What about this game made it so that everyone suddenly wanted to play Street Fighter again?
Well, I think there were several factors that came into play. A, the graphics were completely redone, so it looks like a very modern game. Second, a lot of people would play Street Fighter when they were younger. They would play on Super Nintendo. Now we're all, early, mid, late 20s, and they have, disposable income, they have time to spare. So it's a lot easier to go back to that nostalgia, I think, and be like, oh wow, like now I get to really put as much time into Street Fighter as I want to, and I don't have mom or homework or anybody telling me not to.
Do you think there's a style difference between Western players and Japanese players?
There's so many variables that go into it, but in general, American players are thought to have better footsies, which is also known as zoning, whereas Japanese players tend to just go with their game plan and not really care too much about what you're doing.
Your style, personally, you like to just rush down right?
My style has changed as the game has progressed, but yeah, I mean, rush down with Balrog is something that works.
Do you think it's healthy for the gaming culture that there's like celebrities popping up now for these competitive fighting games?
If you thought that was cool, then yeah, I mean, gaming is no different. But I think of us as a combination of athletes and musicians, because It's part art and part science. Like, there are physical elements involved. There's hand-eye coordination. There is knowledge of the game, parameters that you have to follow, you know, and then there's the art aspect of it, or not art, but, you know, style. Because everybody plays differently. You can play however you want, so everybody has their own take on it. And only the game decides whether it's successful or not.
Now, Super Street Fighter.
Yes.
Have you gotten a chance to play this game?
Yes, I got to play at CES in the Mad Cat suite.
How is it compared to the current incarnation of Street Fighter 4?
You know, it's pretty much the same game. The differences are the new characters that they've added in, there's new costumes, everybody now has 2 ultras instead of 1. Other than that, it's pretty much the same game. The mechanics are all basically the same.
What are your personal goals?
My goal has always been to run a successful business because I'm an entrepreneur at heart. So I'm an entrepreneur that has put a lot of time into Street Fighter, so like I make that my business. I run events like bar fights. I'm running this LA Riots 8-man invitational that we stream live for thousands of people to watch on the internet. So I'm generating value in the culture, the sport, whatever you want to call it, and I'm trying to expand the audience and generate more value and give everybody what they want.
When is it that you know, or when should you know, that you have the desire and drive to go pro?
I would say that if you want to go pro, that's all that you need. You don't need any sort of justification, or you don't need any real evidence that you can be pro someday. It's really more important that you want it really badly, because if you want it really badly, then you're gonna do what's necessary to achieve it.
We have one more surprise for you.
Oh no.
Yeah, since the nature of this show, we have brought in the voice actor for Ryu from Street Fighter 4. His name is Hebert. He's waiting in the wings, and I think he wants to play you.
He wants to play me?
I think he wants to play you in Street Fighter 4.
Well, tell him to come on in.
All right.
Kyle Hebert, I understand that you came here today with the goal to challenge Gutex.
Aye, that is indeed the goal. I've been training for months. Months. I'm using chaos theory to my advantage to defeat this gentleman right here today with button mashing.
Button mashing?
Yes.
All right. Well, this is Ryu, the voice of Ryu, versus Ryan Gutex Gutierrez right here on AnimeTV. All right, here we go.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean...
Kyle, he's hitting you in the face. He's hitting you in the face.
Yeah, face, hitting, pain.
Oh,
He's on fire!
Kyle Hebert setting Balrog on fire.
Oh, yeah! Oh,
deftly avoiding.
Oh, ow. Oh, pain. Ow.
Not so deftly anymore.
Can
Can Kyle come back from this brutal beating? He has full ultra. Can he pull it off? That was
it.
Well.
Good game, sir.
That was embarrassing. What have we learned from this segment? We learned that Ryan Gutex Gutierrez is really, really good. Also, I'd like to give a thank you to Kyle Hebert, who took, his time out to be on our show, get his ass kicked by Ryan. That was good sport of him. Good sport. You know what? I'm gonna head back in here and get a little practice in. I got a few quarters left, so I'll see you guys later. This is Kaji Tang from AnimeTV. Try not to suck at video games as much as I do.
All right, when we come back from the break, we're going to be reviewing Huntik. Is it an anime? I don't know. Find out.
Web hosting from GoDaddy.com includes 99.9% uptime, 24/7 support, and free access to hosting connection. The place to install over 30 free applications sure to help you get the most from your hosting plan and website. For 10% off your order, just punch in the code ATV8.
So Huntik, Secrets and Seekers, it's a 4Kids title. 4Kids is a production company. It's 26 episodes long, and it's different than any show we've reviewed yet.
Yeah, because it's not quite an anime. It is an anime.
It's Italian.
And I'm of the mind that if it's anime style, to me, I still consider it an anime, like Avatar. To me, anime.
Well, you see, our panelists have similar and different opinions that we're going to hear from soon.
Yeah.
So, what do you think anime is?
What are your opinions? Write on our discussion board. After this episode, let's discuss what anime is.
Here's the clip.
There is a world beyond what you see.
It's a difficult symbol, but it goes something like this.
There there are ancient secrets hidden in the darkest corners of the earth. There are those that know the truth, who protect humanity. And there are others who threaten it.
Find him.
Hey, what's that? That was my father's.
Destiny calls a new seeker.
What's this? Wow, Rear. This journal is unbelievable.
I say we go.
I
His world will never be the same.
That journal must be more important than I thought.
Hey,
The battle that began before history ends now. Huntik.
Alright. Just so you know, yes, that was Huntik you saw. And yes, this is Anime TV, and I take the blame. I've been patrolling you guys' forums, your messages, and I heard a little gripe about us not examining Western ideas or Western shows and just basically cutting the American on the Western side of the world of animation no slack. So, I chose Huntik. Sorry guys, that's me. It's me. So, basic overview of Huntik. It starts off with a young boy who's into puzzles and for some reason follows in the steps of his grandfather or father-like figure who he himself was a hunter, a seeker. So what's the secret about Huntik, secrets, and seekers? Nothing. It's done by a card company to push cards, and that's it. Less compared to a couple of other anime we know. Tracy, what do you think?
It's kind of like a pseudo-anime. It feels like it wants to be an anime, you know? Like, I definitely see comparisons. You know, they've got these monsters that
they have to
invoke.
hunt and fight each other with?
Right. But
Yeah.
instead of Yu-Gi-Oh, the monsters are fighting with them. You know, the people and the monsters are all fighting together instead of, like, the monsters fighting each other. And I definitely see similarities, but for me, it doesn't quite get there to the anime side. But it's a kid's show. That's the point, right? So it's like, for someone, you know, that's a little bit older, you know.
I'm not sure what you mean by older. I'm 22 years old. And when I grew up, I did watch some things like, you know, Pirates of Dark Water, or even when Fox was experimenting with the anime craze. Remember, Escaflowne came out, and they cut after episode 11 because it was too intense. And then outside of that, there was Pokemon, and that was interesting to me. It still is. When I look at this, the interesting part about this is, like, unlike Yu-Gi-Oh, which, if you guys know, there's actually a season 0. In the mangas, there's a season 0. And if you look at it, it has nothing to do with the card game.
Yeah.
They weren't pushing a card game, they were telling a story. Card game fit in, and you have it. This, I saw it, and I'm like, wow. It may be a demographic for 12-year-old people, but at the same time, you can see where they're trying to rake in the cash cow. And I'm okay with that to some extent. But these ideas done by Eugenio Straffi of Rainbow
SPA,
Studio, yes. You may have heard of him if you watch 4Kids. He did the Winx Club. it just didn't mesh well. What do you think about that, Nick?
As far as watching the show, when I first put the DVD in, I actually stopped it and said, "Where are these hidden cameras? Who's making me watch this? I'm on some sort of joke show."
I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I was like, Roy, and
Did you love the Indiana Jones wannabe
the
beginning?
bullwhip
Yeah.
foolishness? I did want to say though that there are some good things about it. There are definitely some poo-poo points. My one thing is the theme song by Jeff Washburn. I actually kind of dug it. It was very Power Rangers. It was I was like, okay, who did this? I stopped the DVD, looked around for the cameras, and then looked up who did the song first, because it was emblazoned on my mind. It looked cool. I was like, okay, I can get into this. The main character looks like Johnny Quest. The villain, the foe, looks like kind of like a tranny version of Ozzy Osbourne with his round sunglasses. Sophie looks like an Avril Lavigne reject.
With huge anime eyes.
Yeah,
So.
Which makes no sense.
Yeah, the character design personally is bad. Chariot, who's like his Pokemon little friend that helps him out, is a cross between Falcor from The Neverending Story and Broadway from Gargoyles. And he talks, and this is kind of interesting. What I liked about the show was that they use seasoned voice actors. I mean, basically, in my opinion, they're getting paychecks. Yuri Lowenthal's in there, Kirk Thornton's in there. Other things about the anime, as far as like Appleseed.
Whoa! What did you say?
Other things about I was gonna say the anime that I was gonna compare it to was Appleseed has the CGI overlay on the back. You know what I'm talking about, where they have tanks running through and this flap kind of background. There's a lot of that going on. For example, if you were an object and we were going to interact with you, you would be the only thing that looks different from the background. And so we'd be talking, all of a sudden it'd be like, oh, let's work the statue. And you know that we were gonna work the statue even though we started talking way before it. Because the fact that it's highlighted and it's up among the backdrop, the flat backdrop. You know what I'm saying?
It's easy to see.
It's easy to see. Like if they're gonna get on a motorcycle, you know somehow the motorcycle's gonna blow up or it's going to be interacted with because the fact that it falls off the page. It's almost like a color form. They put it on there and you're like, you know they're gonna use that.
They've stuck onto it.
Yeah, I mean, as far as how it ties in with the card game isn't bad. The mechanics aren't bad. I play Magic and I played Pokemon. I played basically everything. I played Card Captors before. The card game's not bad. It's actually different, a little bit different. And, but it's not really original. It is for kids.
Sounds appropriate, it being for kids' entertainment, but again, we're not saying the Western show. We're talking about the Japanese influence. So, who better than you?
The
Japanese influence. Tell me.
Wow. Okay. So it was funny because as I was watching this, the gargoyle character reminded me of a really bad version of Kero-chan or Keroverosu from Cardcaptor Sakura. But Kero-chan is great. You love him. Awesome. You love him. He's there for you. I'm sure the gargoyle's there for you, but I couldn't stand the voice.
I wouldn't buy a plushie of him.
Yeah, no, he's kind of ugly.
Kind of ugly.
Yeah, kind of ugly. Not really cute.
He has those cute points though with the ears, like when the ears go up.
No.
Are
It wasn't enough.
Ears?
I'm so sorry. But the thing for me is that I have to admit, a lot of cartoons, they may be geared towards children, but this one kind of lacks sophistication where the adults could be watching it and having fun too. I just felt that it was kind of bland,
right.
And it was like there was no layers to it. It was just this kind of like Scooby-Doo action. It just had this kind of lack of sophistication that we have come to appreciate, I think, not only in anime, but also in cartoons that are produced here in America, which is why they have such huge fan bases, or don't, like Huntik. They were probably expecting larger numbers because obviously the Yu-Gi-Oh! And Pokemon and stuff like that had huge numbers. And this one I don't think has the ability to create that much because first of all, it's not cute. Second of all, the animation's like, it's okay. The story's not very good, I think.
Okay, well, what do you mean by okay for the animation?
It, like Nick was saying, it was kind of like this weird, my arm's not going to move for like 20 seconds and my mouth is the only thing moving. And then like for the last 3 frames, I'm going to move the arm just to show you that, look, we are animating besides the mouth, and it just...
The attention to detail was lost.
Completely lost.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Roy.
Look.
You only wasted about, 10 hours of my time. Thank you very much.
It's a 26 episode series for CW.
And I skipped some of it, I have to
There's
admit.
more.
There's way more.
All right, so judging by how we're talking, I pretty much get what our final thoughts are going to be. Just so you know, just so I can give you a little backtrack and back history why I picked this, it's because it's a completely Western cartoon. It's new, people are watching it, and I just had to pull it up. A little brief history. It's done by Italian creator Eugenio Straffi. He did Winx Club on 4Kids. He's done shows before. As for the cast and production lists go, like I said, it was done by Big Boca Productions. It was headed by the CEO of Upper Deck. Upper Deck recently lost their Yu-Gi-Oh license. Huntik came in around the same time. And that's okay. People like to make money. People like to make a good card game. I get that. But honestly, can we consider this type of idea of a Western cartoon that our kids are watching today something to compare to anime? And while we're at it, guys, what is anime really? Nick, what do you think?
You know, I would consider something like Thundercats more anime than this ever will be in a million years.
Right.
You know, just because, like I said, the attention to detail, the style, the flow, you know, the character, the story, this severely lacks those three things, and which are important, you know, which make animes good animes. Not necessarily whether or not you want to argue it comes from Japan or made by Japanese people, but I'm saying if you're going to stylize it in the vein of anime, give us some good characters. Don't give us some tranny-looking bad guy or some, like I said, some punk rock girl that looks like she came out of an Avril Lavigne concert. Give us something of value. And like I said, I might not hate the show, or I might hate the show, but I like the characters. The reason that this exists is for children. If you're an adult and you have children, this could be like, you know, how they say weed is a gateway drug. You smoke weed, then you try cocaine, then you get into crack. And I'm going somewhere with this. This could be your vehicle to get your child to grow up and play card games with you, because I know if I ever have a son or a daughter, I'm like, you will play Magic with me. And so but I think there's better animes out there that will allow you to do that. The vehicle could be Card Captors, could be Pokemon, could be Beyblade, you know, any of the ones we mentioned before that are tie-ins. But like I said, I think to make mention that these were all animes first and became later on, you know, like Transformers. You want to use it as your gateway drug to entrance your children into playing card games with you as you get older and they get older, cool. If you want to get them into anime, there's better ones out there to do that as a vehicle for your selfish purposes with your children.
Tracy, what is anime to you? And tell me. Yeah, tell me what you think of this.
Well, when I think of anime, I mean, I do think of Japanese anime, but I don't know. I guess I'd maybe say like a sophisticated cartoon. I mean, something that is done really well that's in the cartoon art form. And I mean, I'm like a huge Disney fan, and I tend to put that into the category of anime, not because it's super similar, but it's like a beautiful cartoon, and it's something that has a great story. And I know that there are definitely differences, but generally though, I just think of anime as Japanese.
I have a question. Isn't it redundant to say Japanese anime?
Yes.
If all anime is Japanese?
Unless you're French.
If that's your, but if that typifies what anime truly is, that it comes from Japan and only from Japan, then saying Japanese anime,
well,
the rest are all yeah, but there's a disagreement about that, so I don't think it really is oxymoronish to say that, or not oxymoronish, it's redundant.
Right.
Well, the word anime has evolved so much. It came from Japanese animation to Japanimation to Japanime to anime in the Western world. And throughout all the conflicts, throughout all the controversy, I remember Golden Boy coming out, made a huge, like, we can't show anime on TV. And then we had a big boom, and now we're here. We're at the let off. And so when I think about how the word and how it's evolved, I do think that maybe we should look at the definitions a little bit. But I have a clear definition, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
Okay. First of all, the funny thing is that you guys were trying to define what anime is and what makes something anime. The funny thing for me is that I grew up with anime, so I did start at the kiddie level too, like the Huntiks and stuff. I mean, I can compare Huntik as an anime, but for me it would be like Paman or Doraemon, or my favorite is Kiteretsu Daihakka, which nobody also knows in America. It's like, for me, it's a better version of Doraemon because the guy actually creates his own little gadgets from this old book that he has that you have to wear these special spectacles to read. It's awesome. But anyways, so I grew up with like Sazae-san is also like a kids and family anime. And the thing is that first and foremost, I think the most important thing is the story, is the characters, because these kids stuff that you watch, they could be like, Sazae-san is like a 15 or 10 minute vignette. There's two within this 30-minute span. like they would do like Tom and Jerry is the same way. But each little story in these vignettes are full and rich with these characters and this life. And so it's like, there's a sophistication. I've talked about this with Huntik, that sophistication was missing from Huntik. Whereas these animes that I watched as a child, they may have been geared towards children, but adults still watch them. I mean, they're on, and they're on prime time. I mean, here you don't usually see anime or any kind of cartoon on prime time. Whereas like in Japan, you will see a anime on prime time at 7 or 8 when people are sitting around, you know, eating and then resting right before they go to sleep and stuff like that. It's just, so to me, it's not just like the way it's animated or anything, especially because nowadays they're kind of
better.
Not just that, they're outsourcing their drawings to Korea and stuff like that. So what, just because it's made in Korea, it's not anime, but it's from Japan. It's like, so
it's hard to
yeah,
define.
so for my thing, it's really, really about the heart of the story. I think the heart of the story and the characters.
The heart of the cards. I'm sorry.
The heart of the cards. Oh gosh, I cannot stand Yu-Gi-Oh. By the way, it's fun to watch when you need to turn your brain off. Sorry, KG, I know you love the show. Yeah, but the thing is that, so I think what you touched on was really important. Anything like Pixar, I think, does a great job with story. Like Up was amazing, you know, just thinking about Up right now is like, oh, tear-worthy. But I really, really think it's the attention to detail, the quality of the story and the characters. And so I may be Japanese, but I hate to be like, no, nothing else besides these Japanese animation can be called anime. I think it really is the spirit of the talent and what people are trying to achieve in story that makes something an anime or anime-like.
All right, I feel you on that. That's a great, like,
You know?
it has to be the heart. And you know what? As much as I like that, I can just see the internet saying, no, I mean, heart means nothing. And
sorry.
Look, here's the thing. Here's my thing on anime. And it's going to be very much cut and dry. It has to be, one, Japanese conceived, Japanese produced, and even though it's made with some idea towards Western ideas like Cowboy Bebop, it has to have that type of rooting. Now, you're wondering why. I'm pretty sure why. You guys remember the Miyazaki whole, like, what does he do anime? Does he admit to it? And I consider him a master of anime, but more openly, a master animator. And so when it comes to that, I grew up with shows like Teen Titans. I grew up with shows like Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm young, I get that. But at the same time, a lot of these shows, as you said, didn't suffer from losing its integrity. Glenn Murakami of the
That's
animation
so true.
universe,
That's so true.
he is Japanese, and he likes that type of flavor. In fact, in one episode, Teen Titans, you see a lot of throwback to anime. And that was awesome. I thought that was a great American-produced show. I couldn't call it anime.
It's an animated series.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was a great. It was a great. Like, okay, we know what you guys like. We know what's up. Puffy Amiyumi's doing this. I feel like this doesn't lose its integrity.
Did you just okay?
Yeah. Now, much to my chagrin, when I heard Jonathan bring out Avatar as an anime,
I let him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's what you typify as being an anime.
But
Some people
again, it was something that didn't lose its integrity. It was like the whole story behind that is when we started writing Avatar, we had to look at FLCL for before we could even
You're
start.
talking about the Last Airbender.
Yeah,
Avatar.
the last Avatar. Yeah, the last Airbender, and I'm completely floored. Like, wow. So these guys understand what they're trying to do.
But
With
under your
this,
definition, it is not anime.
It's not anime.
But under someone else's definition,
Under someone
it is
else's
anime.
definition.
I think we're
But-
confused. No, I'm kidding.
That being said, when I looked at Huntik, I saw that it was just a ploy to push cards. It had no sophistication. It felt not even buzzworthy to even talk about at school because, like, oh, you watch Huntik? No, you want to watch this and this and this and this, like Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Card Captors. But they don't get it nowadays.
Yeah.
And maybe that's to American animation, or maybe it's just for the fact that the line between influence and originality are blurring. But as long as we stick to the idea that anime is something that goes beyond just pushing toys, or something that goes beyond just giving kids to look at, and gives them something to take away from it.
I think it's hard though if you do bring in a corporation and a nationally syndicated channel like CW for them to understand the finer points of anime. And I think it gets harder and harder to push your view. So when it started, it might have been better. Who knows?
Right.
And with the whittling away of the concept or, money, budget, who knows what happened to the show. It could have been something that was fantastic in the beginning. And then in the end, it was just like, we need to push this vehicle for money. I mean, who knows what happened in the process.
And
so
it suffered from the Batman and Robin kind of syndrome. I get that. But ultimately, when we look and I see how people are like, oh, well, Western shows can be considered anime, I have to say no, because they were there first, I mean, Osamu Tezuka was inspired by Walt Disney, but the first Japanese animated short was made in 1907. Little boy just drawing on a poster. It lasted 10 seconds. And that, to me, is the true inception of anime. Because from that one little paper and that one little brush, it brought us a whole world, a whole flurry of inventors. And because of that, and it gets me right here, but when you talk about it, and you say anime, what does it mean? You have that question. And that's something I think Western audiences don't get. We get things like the Winx Club, we get things like Huntik, and we never, ever have that idea of wonder. And that's what Miyazaki brings. That's what Otomo brings, man. And that's what anime means to me. So I have to ask you guys out there, when you start this flame war or argue, what does anime mean to you? Johnny, Christina, take it away.
So that was a really good discussion, but my mind still isn't made up about what anime is.
I don't think it ever will be. This is crazy.
But tell us what you think on the forums, Facebook, Twitter. Tell us what you think.
Yeah, talk to us, people. Talk to us.
By the way,
Tracy! Welcome,
it's so good
Tracy!
To see a new face on the panel.
Absolutely.
And next week it's an all-female panel. We're going to be reviewing Line Barrels of Iron, so come back.
Line Barrels of Iron. What a feminine title.
Indeed.
Yes.
So I'm Christina V.
I'm Jonathan Messa, still filling in for Johnny Young Bosch.
Let's...
AnimeTV go?
Yeah.
AnimeTV go.
AnimeTV go! Be sure to check out Huntik on DVD. You can pick up 4 Kids Shoot! Huntik, Seekers and Seekers. Shoot! Ah! They're like cats swatting in the air.
I don't know what to do with my hands. I don't know what to do. I feel like I'm on a rocket ship. Okay.
No.
Bang Zoom.